don't have a high-end machine, at least 8 GB is the requirement at least. More 12 GB is recommended, but 8 GB somehow you can manage. So 8 GB, if it is not there, then please try to upgrade. Otherwise, you can. So if you cannot upgrade, then you can use Google Colab, or maybe you can also use Amazon AWS, right? AWS. So, but that is not free. AWS, whatever you are getting in free, are also very low-end machines, 4 GB. So, if you really want to upgrade your system, you can do it right now before Monday's class. That's the first thing. Second thing is, yeah, so I will share the syllabus because yesterday I think few of you have questions. I could not answer everything because we were running out of time. So today again I'll take questions, and if you have any queries, anything that you want to clarify before we start the syllabus, we will do that. And what I have decided is, initially I will share all the recordings of Python with the students who join newly to this class, so that they can go through in this weekend. And in Monday's class, quickly, I will take you through. It's a kind of summary kind of thing. So quickly, I'll take you through Pythons, right? Initially, will not. We will not go kind of line by line kind of thing. What we have did in the intermediate batch, but we'll go fast, really fast. So I think within 2-3 class we can finish Python. So it is kind of for everyone, it is a kind of revision, right? So even though you don't know Python, we will be completing it, though it is not there in the syllabus. But initially 2-3 classes will be kind of in a faster mode. We'll be completing Python also, and I'll share the recordings with you in case you want to um, play the recordings and prepare for the class and come. You can do that. Okay. So yeah, any questions so far? Just give me 1 minute. Let me open the syllabus so that we can discuss if you have any queries. First, let us discuss. If you have any queries, please ask. We can discuss anything regarding the syllabus and regarding the course. Okay, in the meantime, I'm also opening the syllabus so that people who joined today newly, for them, I can give a quick summary of the syllabus. Yeah. Yeah, you can go ahead if you have any queries.
Hi. Is upgrading the system mandatory, or can I use Google Colab for the course?
Most of the things you can use Google Colab. I think everything you can use for everything you can use Google Colab except big data. Big data also, the code you can write, because most of the things we will be doing in local mode. The code will work even in your local system. The code will work, but if you really want to create a fully distributed system, then I think Google Colab will also fail. Right? You need to create
Some
Ubuntu
upgraded system.
machines,
Okay.
yeah, inside VirtualBox, or you can take servers or machines on rent from AWS. That is, I think, 1 month is there. 1 month time is there still. So, but if apart from big data, rest all thing you can do in Google Colab.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no problem. Even I will be using Google Colab because this is my Mac system that I'm using, and this is not very high end. I have another system which is high end. I will be using that for big data, but rest all I'll be using Google Colab. Okay. So quick revision on the syllabus for everyone who joined today newly. So this course is mostly giving you a very good hands-on deep learning NLP.
One question, Sasmita.
Yes.
So, I mean, this Mac with 512 and i7 will work, right? To just do, I mean,
Could
the
you repeat?
examples.
Sorry, I could not hear properly.
So, what I'm saying, the Mac with i7 and 512 gig will work, right?
Yeah. So even in 4 GB RAM also you can do it, as I'm saying, right? We can use Google Colab. So I mean, all the code we can write, even GPU code and everything we can write. But when we will go to big data, that time your system should have at least 8 GB RAM,
Yeah,
irrespective
got
of
it.
operating system. Yeah. Okay, so let me give you a quick revision on the syllabus. So we have deep learning, we have NLP, and we have Apache Spark. These are the major three pillars that we are going to cover in this particular course. In deep learning, we will be very efficient using PyTorch and Keras along with TensorFlow and Theano. So basically TensorFlow and Theano we are not using because Keras is a hybrid package which internally uses TensorFlow and Theano. So it's an advanced package. So if you are using Keras, there is most of the things you can do using Keras. No need to use TensorFlow Theano. So in this entire course, two major library from deep learning, PyTorch and Keras, you will be very expert in. Plus, you will be expert in one package called OpenCV, which is very good for computer vision. With respect to NLP, we will be learning Spassy, GenSim, NLTK, all these packages will be using for different tasks. Beautiful Soup, Selenium, right, for web scraping. And in big data, we will be getting a hands-on on AWS, how to go there. It's not a AWS course, so don't expect a very expert level of AWS. What we are doing, let me clarify. So we are doing nothing. We're just going AWS, renting server, and creating a big data cluster. That is what we are doing. And also give you a brief, maybe if not in the class, maybe I'll share recordings with respect to what is big data, what is the difference between Hadoop and Spark and all that theory part you can go through. And in the class, we will be completing two modules of Apache Spark, ML library and Spark data frame library, followed by one project recommended system. So along with these packages, you will be doing four projects. One is the car fuel consumption. It's a mostly it's a regression based project, but here you will be learning, you have understood how you can do it, linear regression implementation using machine learning, sklearn, but now we will be implementing regression using deep learning, right, using Keras. Second, we will be creating an image classifier using OpenCV and PyTorch. There you will be learning image processing. Thirdly, we will be creating a sentiment classifier using NLP, and also the data will not be freely available. We'll go to Amazon website, live Amazon website, we'll collect, we will pull data maybe from any particular product. We'll be pulling the reviews from Amazon live using beautiful Selenium, and then that text data we'll be using to build a sentiment classifier. And finally, we'll be discussing about Apache Spark. And once we understood the architecture and install Apache Spark architecture, we will be going through the, we'll be building a model recommendation engine using PySpark. So this is the course highlights. You can go through the topics, and the topics are line by line. We'll be covering everything, whatever is written, line by line, we'll be completing everything, all the topics. Okay, so this is about the syllabus. So the requirement for this course is obviously Python. Python is the language of choice. The course assumes that you know Python because it's an advanced course, and as it is advanced, so it is assuming that you know Python. But in case you don't know Python, that's okay. I will give you a quick, really fast summary of Python, maybe within 2-3 class when we connect on Monday. Initial 1-2 days, or maybe from tomorrow onwards we can start. Tomorrow maybe I'll give you a brief introduction to basics, and maybe Monday, Tuesday I'll give you a brief introduction to pandas and NumPy library. right? For this course, NumPy has very importance, so much importance. If you see the first chapter of this course, the syllabus, it's all about tensor, right? What is tensor? Vector operation, dot product, matrix multiplication, gradient, loss function. All this is very similar to tensor, is something very similar to NumPy. When we go, you can understand. So NumPy is very important library. So even like NumPy anyway I have to cover. So along with NumPy, I will also cover Python basics and pandas, but that will be really fast. Um, I'll recommend you to go through the recordings of previous batch and then come to the class if you are new to Python. If you already attended my batch, then I think you already know everything. So it's a revision for you. How many of you are there for whom Python is completely new?
I mean, I worked on Java-based Apache Spark, so a little bit understanding on Spark, not much.
Okay. Yeah. With respect to Python, you are new, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Mahendra and you, anyone? That is okay. I mean, if you are joining this, and one more thing is, um, so this is independent course and intermediate is independent course. If you know Python, both of the course you can take. I mean, there is no dependency. You can very well understand. So few of you have not attended the intermediate. That is absolutely fine. Whatever topics are mentioned, every topic, everything, you can see there is no relation. If you see the topics, if you read through the topics, people who attended intermediate, you can find everything in this topic is completely new. Completely new. Spark is new, right? AWS is new. NLP is new. Even deep learning is also new to you. So parallelly you can take, provided you know Python. And I'm going to give Python also in this class because many of you have not attended, but
So,
um little fast. Yeah.
yeah, are we going to touch base the NLP deep, or else we'll just go through the overview of NLP and what are the things that it's covering, or etc.
No, NLP is deep. Though there are so many other things, NLP itself is very vast. People do PhD on NLP.
Yeah.
So even deep learning is also very vast. So to complete everything on deep learning and NLP, it requires one year.
Yeah.
See, because it's very vast. I mean, really very vast. But what we are doing is whatever is very important, right? That we are completing, and from there onwards, at least you will understand. So if you know ANN, CNN, basic deep learning architectures, you know gradient descent and all the basic stuff.
Mhm.
Later on, let's say you are reading something else, let's say RNN, very easily you can relate or you can understand. So you'll get a path to go, and self-learning you can do after that. So
Sure.
honestly, this course is not completing everything. Don't think, yesterday also I told that. So don't think after this deep learning and NLP is completed. No, we are completing most of the important topics that you will be using in real time. But there are few topics which we are
Is there any
reinforcement learning is there, right? Boltzmann machine is there, GNN is there. So we have transfer learning is there. So many things. I mean, it's a very recent. I mean, it's full. These topics are very vast, right? We
Yeah.
can't complete everything in 1.5 month. Yeah.
I, is there any is there any books that you're gonna propose during that sessions?
Yeah, I can upload many books,
Okay.
and also I'll tell you the next steps. So you understood this too. Next, what you should learn. There are so many things which I cannot cover, though I want to cover like time series, right? It's a really important topic. But again, if I include time series, we'll go for 2 months, 2.5 months, right? Time series is vast.
Yeah.
So I just try to give you a proper balance of many topics, whichever is important. Okay. Um, so this is all about the topic. And if you don't have any queries, further queries, I'll quickly tell you about, I think you all know, but you should install Python and Jupyter Notebook. Again, I mean, mostly we will be using Google Colab. If you don't have Jupyter Notebook, that's okay. But Google Colab looks very similar to Jupyter Notebook, right? So recommendation will be Jupyter Notebook, because when we go to Apache Spark, we'll be integrating Jupyter Notebook with Spark, and we can write our distributed code here. So what I can suggest you is, people who newly joined today, what you can do is you can come to you can install Python first of all in your system. And how to install Python? You can type Anaconda Python download and come to this particular site. So this is Anaconda version of Python, where you will get everything in one place. The packages, give me 1 minute. So here you will get everything in one place. So you just come to Anaconda Python and then go to download. Is the download? Yeah. So here is the download, right? If you scroll down in the below, you can find the download. You select your operating system and then download. You need to select this 64-bit command line graphical installer, right? And once you install it, click next, 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 and done. So your Python is done. Your Python installation is done. Along with Python, if you are installing with Anaconda, you will also get most of the important packages. Plus, you will also get, so once you have installed, you'll get PyCharm. You will get, even PyCharm is, I think in the latest version it is there. So you can get PyCharm, Jupyter Notebook, Spider, 3 IDs. Along with that, you will get all of these packages installed. Pandas, PyTorch. PyTorch is also, it is showing PyTorch should also work, but I think it did not work for me last time. So check whether PyTorch installation is already done or you have to do it. Otherwise, most of the other things like Jupyter, TensorFlow, it is showing TensorFlow, SciPy, Spider, NumPy, Pandas, everything is installed for you, right? So whatever, what all these names are, these are Python packages that we will be using extensively in this course. Pandas, NumPy, right? We will be using Torch, TensorFlow, then we will be using visualization if it is required, Matplotlib. So all these things are already there for you. No need to install separately if you are using Anaconda. But you are free to use any ID. This is just a easy installation. No environment variable setting, nothing. Like Java, we have to set everything. So here in Python, nothing you have to do. It's a exe file, just download it, next, 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 and done. Python installation done. Once Python installation is done, next thing what you can do is go to my YouTube, Durgasoft's YouTube link, and see, or maybe I will upload, I'll create a drive, and in that drive today I will upload the Jupyter Notebook tutorial. You need to go through the Jupyter Notebook tutorial, and that is really very in detail. Once you go through Jupyter Notebook tutorial, you will be very, 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 very expert. So for example, this is Jupyter Notebook, right? So it is kind of a notebook where you can create nice documents, right? You can write your, it supports Markdown. So you can create headings, you can create nice graphs, you can add hyperlinks, everything you can do. So that's a 1 hour video that is mandatory. Before coming to Monday's class, this is mandatory for you to do. Otherwise, I doubt you will, I mean, Python also, you will not understand about the IDE. So when I open Jupyter, you'll be confused how I'm opening, how I'm writing, what I'm doing. So basic thing before coming to the next class, maybe tomorrow's class or Monday's class, what you can do is install Anaconda and see Jupyter Notebook tutorial, 1 hour video. So far all clear? Everything is clear so far?
Yeah.
Okay. And if you already know all this, just skip it. If you are new, you have to do this. Tomorrow, what I'm planning is maybe tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday, these 3 classes is a revision, Python revision. I will take you through the Python. from starting from scratch. Quickly, I'll take you through the basic Python, like what is variable, functions, and loops, followed by advanced Python, pandas and NumPy. Obviously, pandas in the intermediate class, it was very in detail. You have to see the previous batch recording I'll share. We cannot cover pandas in that much detail, but I'll cover whatever is important, so that once you complete the class, you go through the recordings, you will understand what I'm saying there, right? So pandas and NumPy will complete in Monday's class, Mondays and Tuesdays, right? What I will do is I will share the recordings today only, so that you can utilize this Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 3 days. People who join newly, you can see the recordings. It is very clear. You can very clearly understand. And also join Monday's class, so that it will be whatever is there in the recording, we can complete it in the class as well. Okay, will that help for all who joined, who have no knowledge in Python? Will that help? Yeah. Okay. So as many of you are new to
This is
Python, we'll
second class,
complete it.
right? Isn't
This is second class. Yeah.
it? Okay.
So we have not covered anything yesterday. Today and yesterday, it is just a demo class. The intention of today and yesterday's class is to clarify all your doubts with respect to anything, right? And from tomorrow onwards, officially we'll start the syllabus. Syllabus in the sense from Python onwards, we will start. Okay. Yeah. So I think don't wait till I upload things. It may take some 1 day or time, but can anybody share the YouTube link? Yes, we have YouTube video available um, for this initial Jupyter Notebook tutorial. I think you can see Durgasoft Sasmita Data Science recording session 2. Session 1 is about downloading and installing Anaconda. Session 2 is about Jupyter Notebook. Let me share you the link here. Don't go with the demo recordings. I think session 1 or 2. Okay, let's open anything and then we'll find that. Um, Anybody is getting link? Previous batch student, please forward if you are getting. Mostly this is, I think there's so many recordings. 1 second. Okay, so I think, yeah, this is the one, the last one. Wait 1 second. Just to confirm, yeah, this is the one. So this is Jupyter Notebook tutorial. I'm not able to, my system is hanging. I don't know why. So you got it right. So I'm not able to do anything in the chat window. It's not. No, it is not.
Just on the in the team
I can
meetings,
share
right?
that, but yeah, but I can share from here, but
You click that
it's not.
icon, right? Okay, I think
No, I'm not able to paste here.
okay. Let me search it.
It's not working. Yeah, just type Durgasoft Sasmita Data Science in YouTube, and the last recording, session 2, is session 1 and session 2. Both you can go through. Session 1, I think, let me confirm what is there in session 1. Hopefully it is Jupyter, sorry, Anaconda Institute. Yes. Yes, so session 1 and session 2, both you should go. Session 1 is about Jupyter Note, sorry, Anaconda installation. Session 2 is about Jupyter Notebook. Maybe I don't have that permission to share something because I have joined as attendee. It is not allowing me to paste in the chat window.
I think that's fine, Sasmita. We will get
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you
That's
can
okay.
get.
Thanks for taking it.
No problem. No problem. Yeah. Okay, so these two things you please see before you come tomorrow's class. And in tomorrow's class, we'll start Python. Uh, who already know Python, it will be a quick revision. Anyway, we need this for this course. So we'll start with Python tomorrow. And the topics will be basics about Python, like what is Python, and then what is a variable, function, loops, how to write if, else, while, for loop, what is a function, what is variable operators, all these things we'll see tomorrow. Okay. Okay.
Hi, Sasmita. I just have a couple of questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I believe like you told us yesterday, like people are moving from machine learning to deep learning, and this is going to be kind of the future going forward.
Yes.
I was just curious because I read some article about AutoML, and they say it's going to take most of the job. So can you just elaborate, like what is AutoML and what's the significance?
Nobody can take a data
Mhm.
scientist job, and I mean they can make it easier because in real time, see, there are so many AutoML already there, right? Like we have Data IQ, we have this from AWS, we have Azure is there, right? We have different things. But what I'm saying is it will make the process easier, but cannot replace a complete data scientist, because in real time things are not fancy like how we are looking here. In real time it is very messy. I mean 80 per, like if the project time is 100 hours, 30-40 hours real, 30-40 hours of the time you have to go and sit with the domain experts to understand many things, not only data science. It is a combination of many skills. You need to I mean, how to explain you. So starting from data collection, you need to analyze the problem requirement, you need to analyze the problem statement. Sometimes just data will be there, the stakeholder client will not be sure about what they can do with the data. As a data scientist, you will be proposing the solution to them. Initial POC you have to develop and show them, and once they approve the project, then database access, again no AutoML can give you database access. You need to go connect with the team and get the database access and other access. uh, Third step is data collection. Let's say it is a nature NLP data where you have your own company tool, because of confidentiality and other stuff. No company will allow any other third party tool to scrap their websites. So you as a data scientist only has to write, and the code cannot be automated also. Every website design is different, so same code will not work. So if it is a text data, obviously you have to go, you have to write your own code to scrap it. If it is video and image data, um, most of the things, video, image and NLP data, leave about AutoML. It in nowhere it can help you, because video data and these things are very complicated. You need to write your own logic, right? With respect to semi-structured data, CSV, TSB file, very simple task, classification and all that, right? That can be automated using AutoML. And according to me, we if you are working as a data scientist for 2-3 years, why should I need a model first of all? Because I already have all the scripts. If the data is really simple, I can pull the script and give you the result in one day. Right? I mean, I already have scripts which I have used in other projects. And if the project is really not complicated, simply the data is clean and I don't need to do any cleaning, just I need to do modeling on it. Obviously, I can use my previous code and do it. But if the data is very much messy, if I have to do so many cleaning, and it's not only using statistics, it is a combination of statistics and real-time experts advice. So you cannot simply delete any column. You need to justify. I'm telling about real time because I'm working as a staff data scientist. I got promoted to staff data scientist. Previously, I was working as a senior data scientist. So we cannot delete or we cannot do whatever we want with the data. We have to go through different process. For example, let's say the statistics is telling one column is not important. Before I conclude that that column is not important, I need to go and represent my result to the stakeholder who is a domain expert, because I'm working in an aviation industry where small changes has great impact. I cannot, even finance also has that thing. So you cannot do any small changes in anywhere until unless it is approved. So the domain expert, that will be a 1 hour meeting. They will be discussing, understanding, and then they will be telling, we don't know why your statistics model is telling this, but I think this is important. You should not ignore this. So, I mean, we are facing that. For example, engine cycles. The domain experts are telling engine cycle is important, but when I see the data, it is not, actually has no relation. Then we convince them, see, this is what the data is telling. Maybe the theory is telling that engine cycles are important, but in real time it is actually not important, looking at the statistics. Then they understood, they convinced, because ultimately they are going to use your model. So the trust building is a great factor in data science models. So as a data scientist, we know what we are doing, the statistics math we understand. When we go to a naive user, they, the trust factor, first thing is we are taking their job. There will be many people who are doing the job manually. We are automating, means many people will be fired because of our model. So that resistance is there to accept any model. Second thing is, let's say the companies or the stakeholders are accepting. Let's say, I'll give you one real-time example. Okay, let's say the engineering team, aviation engineering, they are from mechanical background. Many things they're doing manually, and they're doing the same thing for years and years. Why somebody will use your automated model? Because in indirectly that is a threat for their job, right? Because their job is now replaced by AI model. So first of all, that resistance is there. You should, your model should be super explainable. It should justify like the task, and also it should build that trust. It should build that trust that it is superior than the existing manual approach. Second thing is, once it is justified, it should maintain its trust in, or maybe maintain its accuracy in long run. It's not like today you share some model with 80% accuracy, and after 2 months the model is failing drastically. No, it should not be like that. It should be maintaining 80% for years and years and years, right? That thing should be there, robustness and scaling. Today your model is okay for 1 GB data. Tomorrow, let's say the company has gathered 500 GB data, your model should not fail. So scalability, so many things, aspects are there, and everything. If you think, no model can automate all these things. It's not only about, as a data scientist, you are a full stack kind of person. You should have presentation skill, you should have communication skill, storytelling skill. Many times model will not work. After 6 months you have to give a reply why the model is not working. You know data has some problem, but if you tell that data quality is not good, the stakeholder will not understand that, right? So you have to tell a story. So building story, justifying why the model is not working, is also itself is a skill. So many real-time skills are required, which AutoML model, yes, it can help you in some extent, but it cannot replace. Ultimately, you will be the front face, right? So that is the answer. AutoML can help, not for video, image, and NLP data, but at least for machine learning. That's why I'm telling machine learning can be replaced later for with AutoML for the small project, maybe easy task. Like regression classification with very feature selection with not very complicated data with very kind of clean data, right? That, and one more thing is missing value treatment. The auto ML model will not be understanding your domain, your data. It is generalized. But in your data, your stakeholder, your domain experts, you as a data scientist will be deciding what you want to fill in the missing place. The auto ML model will simply fill the mean or a very generic approach. But let's say some 5 or 6 rows are very important. You understood that, okay, if the repair is going for Selma is a repair shop. I'm just giving you real time example. If the part is going for repair to Selma repair shop, definitely it is a HPT blade, because Selma, they don't have any other component except HPT blade. They do only repair HPT blade. Even though the records are missing, I will be replacing it with HPT blade. Now, who will going to tell you that, right, in real time? So, are you getting? Am I making sense what I'm saying? So,
Yep,
it's
sure,
not
sure. Go
very
ahead.
easy to, I mean, real time is completely different than what we are doing in this course. In this course we are taking all the nice fancy like clean cases. In real time, many thing you have to go through. uh, you have to be a game player kind of, politics and so many things you need to be. I mean, that is the fact. In real, you are understanding, right? Your role is to automate the things, and many people who are doing the things manually will not be happy with your model, first of all, because you are replacing their job, right? So you have to be that much confident that your model can very easily replace what they are doing in a nice way. And not only you should also make them understand that. So that is the most challenging part. That's why 70-80% of the data science model, whatever you are building, is rejected. Only 20-30% models will be going for production. Even less than that, according to my experience, hardly I have seen 10%. If you have designed 10 models, maybe one model will go for production. Rest 8-9 model, I'm not talking about service based, because service based means you are going to give service for others. That's a different thing. But if you're working in a product based company, how many products you can build, right, in a year? Hardly 4 5 AI models. Rest all, but you will be working. So yeah, I'm fortunate enough to work in a very good organization which really focuses on research. I worked in many good organizations, but I did not find the reason for changing 5 companies in 5 years is this. I did not get good work according to my expectation. Even I will not take the names, but even very good companies, like people dream to work there, like finance companies, investment banks, people dream to work there. I also dreamt of working, but when I entered, I understood they are not actually doing anything great in the data science. But the current company that I am working, it's a pure research and development company. We have 40 data scientists in our team. So we do so many projects on data science, high level to very low level in every aspect. Image, we do crack detection, video data, we do NLP, we build a model called competitive intelligence, which can understand the competitors, partners' behavior. We do forecasting, demand forecasting, sales forecasting. And now I'm changing to another domain, renewable energy, where I will get to work even more interesting problems. So, so that's why I have a broader aspect. Different domains I have seen: finance, manufacturing, healthcare, and I have many experience going to different companies. And this is the scenario in real time. It's not so, like, not, don't think only by knowing deep learning ML you will become a good data scientist. You should have so many other skills, like presentation is very important skill. Whatever, because you will be the front face. In the meeting, 10 people will be looking at you, what you have done, something like you think, no, how your kid is thinking about Alexa, right? You know how it is working. After taking this course, you can understand how it is working. But for your parents, it is a magic. They will not be knowing. Similarly, when you're taking your model to your stakeholders or your client, for them it is a magic. They'll be surprised and they will more interested to understand what exactly you have done, right? So making them understand is much more difficult than coding, right? So that's the most challenging task, and no AutoML can do that. Even the AutoML is doing that, somebody has to be there to explain others what it is doing, right? So so yes, AutoML can help but cannot replace in real time.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, sorry, I gave a very long answer to your
No,
query,
no,
but
it's good. It's good to have a broad
yeah,
understanding like what's happening, because every
but
time I
yeah,
say, some
yeah.
people are saying these things, so it's good to know.
Yeah, but in real time situations are different. When you come to the ground,
Mhm.
so many things, so many things. I mean, you like we. It took 2 years of time to convert the physics-based model to data science model, just to convince. People are not ready to convince. I mean, not ready to listen intentionally, obviously, because you know why. For example, a demand forecast model you shared with the repair shop. Now you tell me why they will use our model, because 5 people are engaged doing some Excel work. They are doing some mean average and something. They are doing very basic thing and creating something which they are using for years and years and years. Why they will first of all accept your model? Because that is a threat for them. They are losing their own job, uh, right? So until unless it is so good, right? So good and really, so yeah, one more thing is, no matter what you are using, deep learning, ML, naive Bayes, or whatever, that is always internal or behind or in the background. In the front, what is the impact your model is generating? How accurate your model is, that matters. Don't think always deep learning will give good accuracy. Or sometimes I have seen, when I joined this company, they were using a very, very simple function, which is just taking the average, and based on very simple distribution kind of statistics, it was predicting. I laughed and then I thought, oh, I mean, why you are using this model? There are super models, advanced algorithms. So they are already working for 3 4 years. So I was new. So they know, they tried everything and found that that was the simplest algorithm. I tried myself and ultimately that was the simplest. And the business really don't care whether you have used RNN in time series or you have used simple rolling average in time series. What they care is what impact it is generating and how accurate your model is ultimately. So knowing many things will give you an option to try. If you know 10 algorithm, then only you can try 10 algorithm and you will select the best. If you know only 5 algorithm, you will try only 5, right? So maybe the 5 algorithm that you don't know may have one algorithm which is good. So it doesn't we cannot say deep learning will be always good, or machine learning will always good. We will try different things in real time. Whatever is good, we will use that, and 60 70% of the time you will not meet with customers expectation, right? So many things are going on in real time. So very, very different world, taking course and then going for real time. Many different things you will learn when you go to the ground. Okay, so sorry for so long, but yeah, you should know before you jump into this domain. Uh, so in real time, your presentation skill, everything matters, and understanding is very, very, very important. Uh, so whatever your model is doing, you should be able to explain that model in a simple 4 or 5 lines. So whenever I take interview, I don't go for math details. I tell the candidates to explain me what they understood logically, right? That is what you have to do in real time also. Nobody really cares how that algorithm works, but what that algorithm is giving as output, whether that makes sense or not, that you have to make them understand. Okay, okay, we will continue tomorrow. And if you have any query,
Hi, Sasmita. This is Jitendra. I do have one query.
yeah.
I would like to know more about what's the difference between the intermediate level course and this course. And it would be great if you can share syllabus if it's okay.
Yeah, sure. I think uh, I will be sharing the syllabus in the drive, or maybe Durga Soft, you can reach out, they will share. Um, so basically, intermediate and advanced. Intermediate, Python basic, Python advanced, followed by statistics and machine learning. These are the course for intermediate in detailed way, For advanced, it is a continuation of the same, like you'll be completing NLP, deep learning, and Spark. So intermediate and advanced both are independent of each other. Both topic need Python knowledge. Without Python, you cannot code. So Python is mandatory. Python basic, Python advanced is mandatory in both the course. But in intermediate, you will be learning statistics, machine learning in an in-depth way. In advanced, you will be learning NLP, deep learning, Spark in in-depth way, right? And if you want to know more about this thing, so you can see there are 5-6 demo recordings available in YouTube. Everywhere I talked about intermediate, so you can open any of the demo recordings and go through it to know a detailed description about intermediate course.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, Sashank. Okay, so you. Oh, okay, Sasang. I think the course syllabus that you have joined is for intermediate. This is for advanced batch. So as I said, there are two. Actually, the entire course is of three months, which is split into two parts: 1.5 months, 1.5 months. Initial 1.5 months, you will be learning statistics, machine learning, and then rest 1.5 months, you should learn NLP, deep learning, and Spark. Irrespective of knowing ML and statistics, you can very well understand deep learning, NLP, and Spark. Only common thing in both the courses Python. You should know Python. Okay. So Sashank, yeah, I mean, you can connect with me later if you are interested for intermediate. So far, we are not starting any intermediate batch immediately, but maybe after 5 to 10 days, we are planning to start an intermediate batch also if some of you want to learn. But don't think that if you have not completed intermediate, you will not understand this. But why I'm saying, see the syllabus, nothing is matching. No topic from intermediate is matching here. Everything is new. Spark is new, NLP is new, deep learning is new. So you will very well understand if you know Python. Okay, I think I'm running out of time, so I'm running late. We'll connect tomorrow and we'll continue. From tomorrow onwards, we'll start with Python. Okay, thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you.
No problem.